Wel, shwmae pawb, and croeso o goginio ar y hyd. Hello everyone and welcome to the cook along. My name is Richard and today we're going to be making some homemade corned beef pasties which I promise you are absolutely blasus iawn. If you're hoping to cook along with me today, just remember, please make sure that you've washed your hands. Ensure that your table area is nice and clear and also cleaned down, and if you're a younger person, please make sure that there's an adult around to help you with your knife skills and also popping things in and out of your oven. So let's get started with our corned beef pasties. I'm hoping and crossing fingers that my IT skills are now up and running, and I've got the English recipe coming up for you just on that side and the Welsh recipe coming up on that side. And you can see that you're going to need the following. You're going to need approximately 200 grams of corned beef, and you can either use a tin of corned beef, or as I've got today, I've just got a little pack of sliced because I wasn't able to get the tin in the supermarket, and we're going to mash that up afterwards. Now if you don't like corned beef, then you can easily replace it with 100 grams of mature flavoured cheddar cheese, which I've got here, and that's going to make a lovely cheese and onion pasty instead. So you've got those two choices just there. In addition to that, you're going to need half a can of peeled potatoes just there, which we're going to grate down afterwards. I've got 200 grams of frozen mixed vegetables, and you're also going to need an onion. I've already prepared half as well, and I've also got a couple of cloves of garlic which we're going to need to prepare as well. We're going to then mix all of those ingredients together, and we're going to wrap them up, which is the healthier bit for our corned beef pasties, in these little wheat and white wraps. So rather than having all that fat that's in a normal pasty, we've got that delicious healthy option this afternoon. So as I said, we need to do a few knife skills first of all, and I'm just going to grab my knife just here, and I'm going to be using this small little serrated edge knife just like that. And by using a small serrated edge, it means that I can't chop. I have to saw. So ideally, if you're going to be cooking at home, you're looking for one that's got a nice serrated edge just like that. And when it comes to preparing an onion, I know lots of people avoid preparing an onion because their eyes water, and that's simply because you or the adult that's preparing them has cut off that rooty bit at the end, because all the sulfates that make your eyes water are held in that root. So the rule is, as long as you leave that root on, hopefully your eyes won't water. So let me show you how we're going to do it. Our first job is I have cut my onion in half using my little bridge technique, just like that, right? Then we're going to slice off the top. So that's my rooty bit just there, and we need to slice off the top, and we're going to use a little claw. Now to make this claw, it's hand out flat, so it's llaw flat. Your busydd go together, your fingers go together, and your bisbawd, your thumb, goes underneath, and then you curve your busydd over like that. You curve your fingers over. So your thumb's at the back, fingernails pointing straight down, and then rather than chop, all I'm going to do is saw. So I've taken off the stalky part like that. That can go into my little waste bowl. Then I'm able to remove my outside skin just like that. It's the easiest way of doing it, and this onion's quite fresh, right? So it's got a really thin skin on the outside, and I'm just going to pop that just there, and you can see I've taken that skin off, but that rooty bit is still left on. Then all I'm going to do is put that flat down on the surface, then it's hands a bridge, my pinky goes up, and I'm going to push my knife in and drag it down. And I've got an imaginary line, I'm only going to pop it about 1 centimetre away from that root, right? So push your knife in, drag down. I'll show you as a claw. Knife in, drag down, knife in, drag down. And the great thing about that is that it's all held together and we won't be chasing it around the chopping board. Then it's back to my little claw, and it's thumb at the back, fingernails pointing straight down, and I cleave, and I can hold on to that root for my final cut. Saw, and you can see that's the only part of my onion that I'm going to discard, and I've got all of those into nice little pieces as well. So I'm just going to pop those bits just there. For my garlic, we're not going to use a whole bulb, we're just going to use just one little clove just like that. And there's lots of ways of removing the root or the skin of the garlic. I see lots of people trying to do it and fiddling around with a knife. I like to do it as the anger buster. So I find something with a flat surface, like this black pepper just here. I imagine that's someone that's upset me. You're only allowed to do it once though. It's called the anger buster. You get your anger out on there, and then you can easily just pull off the outside skin just as so. And then all I'm going to do is a little mini claw, and I'm just going to slice that off into nice little thin slices, just like that. Now then, we need to cook our onion off very slightly, and you've got two options. You can either pop it into a saucepan with a little bit of vegetable oil and cook it for a few moments, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it all into my little plastic jug just here. I'm going to add my garlic into there as well, and I've got another half an onion just there, and I'm also going to add my frozen mixed vegetables, and you can see in there I've got some carrots that have already been cut up for me. I've got some sweet corn, I've also got some green beans, and also some peas. All of those are just going to go into there like that. As I said, it was about 200 grams of those, and that's going to help towards my 5 a day. The final thing before we cook that in the microwave is I've just got a little bit of water just there, a little bit of dŵr. I'm going to add in, add dye, add tree, and that will help to create some steam. I'm going to cover it with a little bit of cling film, just as so. Pop that on top, and then I'm going to pop that into my microwave, and I'm going to cook it for 2 minutes. So bear with me just 1 second. I'm going to pop that into my microwave, and that's already cooking. Now, whilst that's cooking in the microwave, we have got to prepare our corned beef and also our potatoes. So all I'm going to do with my corned beef, I'm going to pop it all into there just as so, and then I can grab myself a little fork and I can start to mash that up just like that. That's all that you need to do, is just break it up into nice small pieces. So we've got that bit just there. So once that's nicely mashed, we've then got our potatoes, and you've got a couple of options when it comes to potatoes. You can either cut them up nice and small. So what I would do is hands a bridge, cut it in half, and then hands a bridge, cut it into our little chip shapes, and then fingers a claw, and you're just going to cut it into your little dice pieces just as so. So that's way number one. The second way of doing it, which is my preferred way because you sort of get mashed sort of potatoes, is I'm going to grate it. And there's obviously lots and lots and lots of different graters available. I prefer to use this little rotary grater, and I'll show you using that afterwards. However, if you've only got one of these box graters at home, you can easily use that. The worst thing you can do though, right, is do what all the adults will do, is they'll just hold it and they'll just go grating, because that's when accidents happen. So if you are using this little box grater just here, all that you're going to do is you grate down, move away, grate down, move away, grate down, move away, and every time you move away, you're just moving your fingers up whatever you are grating, right? And I can move all of that down, down, move away, down, move away, down, move away, down, move away. Careful of your fingers, and you've got your lovely grated sort of potato just like that, right? Now then, if you haven't got one of those, but you've got one of the older ones, the teeth of the grater are running away from you. They're running away just like that. And again, you grate down, move away, grate down, move away, grate down, move away, grate down, move away. You keep on going, grating down, moving away, moving your fingers up, whatever you're cutting, until you have done all of your grating just like that, right? So I'm going to pop those bits just into there just as so. But as I said, I love using this little rotary grater just here, right? So I'm just going to pop my potatoes just in here, and I'm just going to grate down just like that, and tap, turn and turn and turn and tap, and you get all of your potatoes out just as so. And my vegetables have just finished. Just going to grate that down just like that, giving it a really, really good mix. And I've just got my last couple just here. I'm using half a can of these potatoes, and we're just going to grate the final ones just there, just as so. And I'm just going to grate those last two just like that. Okay, so I'm grating those down just as so, and I've done all of my grated potato, and I can pop that there, and you can see I've got all of that lovely potato. Now then, if you were to buy these from the bakery, you would probably just have potato and also corned beef, but we want to make it slightly healthier. That's why we're adding our vegetables. So let me grab my cooked vegetables just here, and if you're a younger person, you may need to ask an adult to help you with this bit. You can see that the steam's all coming out, and all of my vegetables have now cooked down quite nicely, right? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to pour all of those just into there, just as so. That can go into my little washing up bowl, and you have then got your perfect little bit of filling, right? And we're just going to allow it to cool down just for a couple of moments, and you have got your pasty filling. Now then, to add a little bit of extra flavour, I'm going to add my black pepper, and I've got a little bit of mixed herbs, just like that, about a teaspoon of mixed herbs. We give it a really good mix, and check out our corned beef pasty filling. So that is stage number one, right? So once you've done that, we're then ready to make our little pasties. And as I mentioned, we're going to be using some wraps today rather than puff pastry, because puff pastry, you know, that Greg's pasty pastry that crumbles all down is absolutely delicious, but it's half fat, right? Half fat to flour. It's 50% fat, right? So we're going to use these little wraps just here, and that means that we're reducing the total amount of fat, right? So I'm just going to make two for you this afternoon, but this recipe will in actual fact make approximately 8 to 10 little pasties. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this in half, and if you want to make a slightly large pasty, that's the size that you're going to make, or I'll make one larger one and then two smaller ones just like that, right? So I'm going to pop all of those on just my little chopping board. Couldn't remember what it was called then. My little chopping board just there. And then our first job is we have got a little bit of llaeth, some llyfreth, okay? And all that we're going to do, this is going to act as our little glue. And I'm just going to brush it with a little bit of milk. And this is some semi-skimmed milk. If you have a milk allergy, you could use soya milk, you could use rice milk, whatever milk you have got at home, right? It's just to make sure that our wrap is sticking together, right? So I'm just going to brush all of that over just as so. Then all that I'm going to do is grab myself a little dessert spoon, and I've got my filling just here. I'm going to make my two little small ones to start with. So my filling, and the key is not to overfill. So I'm just going to find halfway, and I'm going to pop that on half of it just as so. And then I've got the other one just here. I'm going to pop half of it on that side. And then I have got this one just over here. This is going to be my larger one, and I'm going to pop that just in the center, just like that, right? So one dessert spoon in the smaller ones and two dessert spoons in the slightly bigger ones, right? Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold him over just as so. And what should happen is that it should naturally start to stick together, right? So we're just going to fold him over just like that. Hopefully he will start to stick together. And then all that we're going to do before we crimp him down, we add a little bit more milk just like that, and that makes the top go a little bit soggy as well, which makes it easier to to crimp. So we're just going to mix all those together. I've then got myself my little fork. I'm going to use that little fork just here, and I'm going to crimp the edges just as so. So you can see I'm just crimping those edges, pressing the two bits of wrap together, and that should hopefully seal everything together. And as long as you haven't overfilled, it won't break, and I promise you this is absolutely delicious. If it does start to fall apart or come apart, just really stick it down. You'll have a little bit more time than me to do that. I can then pop that onto my little cooling wire, and I'll show you once again. All I'm going to do is I'm going to crimp the edges just like that, and if I show you in my little chopping board in the screen, you can see all I'm doing is pressing it down just like that, and you should be able to see those little crimped edges, right? I'm going to pop it back down on there because it's easier to do like that. Move him around just as so, and that is all nicely sealed, and he can go just on there like that. And I might pop those just on that side, and then for my larger one, all I'm going to do is fold him over just like that. We're going to press down the edges, start to give them a really good brush with our milk, and as I said, that will help it to stop it from sticking, but also help to glaze it as well. And all I'm going to do is pop that on just as so, pressing it around until you have got those bits just in there, pressing it around just as so, and then I'm just going to brush the base because you can see that side isn't sticking together. So we're just going to brush them around just like that, just as so, to seal all the edges, and that's our bigger one. So you might have the smaller ones for a snack, but that could be part of a healthy lunch or something like that. So the last thing I'm going to do is brush on my last bit of milk just as so, just like that, and then they are ready to go in the oven 190 degrees centigrade for approximately 20 to 25 minutes, and they end up going lovely and golden brown. They will go really crispy, and I promise you these are absolutely blasses iawn. Well, hello and welcome back. You can see that my pasties have now finished cooking, and this kitchen area smells absolutely blasses iawn. If I just hold up my little pasties to the camera for you, you can see that they're now nice and golden brown. They've gone crispy, and they really do smell arogly nice. Now the great thing about these is that they can be eaten warm, and I would suggest that you leave them to cool down for about 5 minutes before you start eating them, or they could even be eaten cold. So they're a great dish for when you have them in a packed lunch, or maybe on a picnic or something like that. And I'm just going to serve one just there for you to see just in the centre. And if I collect myself a little knife, I'm just going to cut that in half just as so, and you can hear it lovely and crispy. And if I just pull that open just like that, you can see that I have got my perfect corned beef pasty, and I'm really looking forward to eating that afterwards. Now, something else that you can make with any leftover filling is a little corned beef hash pie, and you can see I've got one just there. And basically all that I've done is any leftover filling I have popped into a little container, an oven-proof dish just as so. I've got some cheese just here, and all I'm going to do is sprinkle some cheese on top just like that, and then to add a crunchy sort of topping to it as well, and a little bit more flavour, is I've just got a little bit of dry sage and onion stuffing that I got from the supermarket, and I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of that on, and when that goes into the oven, it will give your little corned beef hash a really little lovely flavour and also a bit of crunch as well. And that just gets cooked in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes until the top has gone nice and golden brown and everything's nice and crispy. And if I show you that to you again, I promise it's absolutely blattis yam. So that brings us to the end of today's cook along. I hope that you have enjoyed watching the film today, because I certainly have enjoyed showing you how to make these delicious corned beef pasties. Don't forget that all the cook along recipes are available on our website, which is cookingtogether.co.uk. The link is coming up for you just now. They're also available on the Youth Service website. I look forward to cooking with you again very, very soon, but in the meantime, cooking your happies.